and welcome to your online library classroom. Last week, all of you watched a video teaching everyone how to borrow library books from Kelly's school. I'm really pleased and happy to share that many Kelly families came to borrow library books over the last 2 weeks, and I hope to see many more of you in the weeks to come. If you have any questions about how to check out library books at Kelly, please ask me those questions on Seesaw. This week, I am going to start our lesson by a quick review of our read aloud from 2 weeks ago. We heard a retelling of the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears that was retold by Jan Brett and illustrated by Jan Brett. We went over the parts of a book, the front cover, the spine, and the back cover, the title page, and the dedication page. Many of you completed the handout coloring in all the different parts of a book, circling the title of the book, and putting a square around the author's name. Something that I pointed out last week, or 2 weeks ago, was that the story is retold, which means that Jan, she didn't invent this story. This story was actually written 183 years ago for the first time by a man named Robert Southey. In 1837, he invented or wrote the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. And ever since then, this story, which is very popular, has been told and told again in many different ways. But usually there's a few things that are the same in each book, in each telling of this story. This week, we are going to hear a new version, a different version of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. And I want you to think about how both stories are the same. What do they have happening that's just the same? And what's different? I'm going to ask a review question. What did Goldilocks say about all of Baby Bear's stuff? She kept saying the same thing every time she used Baby Bear's things. What was that she said? What else do you remember about Goldilocks and the Three Bears? The version that I'm going to share with you this week is titled Goldilocks and the Three Dinosaurs. It is being retold by Mo Willems. He's our retelling author and illustrator. Here's the front cover, the spine, the back cover. I will open to the title page. Just by hearing the title and looking at the picture or illustration on the title page, what is something that you can tell that is different about this Goldilocks story from the first Goldilocks story? This book does not have a dedication page. We go right to the story. Once upon a time, there were 3 dinosaurs: Papa Dinosaur, Mama Dinosaur, and some other dinosaur who happened to be visiting from Norway. What do you see in the story already that is different than the first Goldilocks story? What is the same? Was there a mama in the first story? Was there a papa? Was there some other person or bear or dinosaur in the story from Norway? A visitor? This says home, sweet dinosaur home. One day, for no particular reason, the 3 dinosaurs made up their beds, positioned their chairs just so, and cooked 3 bowls of delicious hot chocolate pudding at varying temperatures. What's the same? What is different? Bonus question, can you find pigeon on one of these 2 pages? If you need more time to look, go ahead and pause the video. "Oh boy," said Papa Dinosaur in his loud, booming voice. It is finally time to leave and go to someplace else. Heh heh heh. Yes, continued Mama Dinosaur, I sure hope no innocent little succulent child happens by our unlocked home while we are, someplace else. Har, har, har. Then the other dinosaur, made a loud noise that sounded like a big evil laugh, but was probably just a polite Norwegian expression. The three dinosaurs went someplace else and were definitely not hiding in the woods waiting for an unsuspecting kid to come by. Sure enough, 5 minutes later, a poorly supervised little girl named Goldilocks came traipsing along. Just then, the forest boomed with what could have been a dinosaur yelling, "Gotcha!" But I'm pretty sure it was just the wind. The loud noise was immediately followed by another loud noise that sounded kind of like, "Be patient, Papa Dinosaur, the trap is not yet sprung." But that could have been a rock falling, or a squirrel. Either way, Goldilocks was not the type of little girl who listened to anyone or anything. For example, Goldilocks never listened to warnings about the dangers of barging into strange, enormous houses. So as soon as Goldilocks came across a strange, enormous house, she barged right in. Welcome. Tee-hee. What do you think will happen next? What is different about this story of Goldilocks from the first story you heard? What is the same? Inside, Goldilocks immediately smelled 3 bowls of delicious chocolate pudding. Said Goldilocks, that chocolate pudding smells delicious. If only I could get all the way up to the top of that counter. Then Goldilocks noticed a very tall ladder that just happened to be there and certainly wasn't left on purpose. Goldilocks climbed up the ladder and found herself face to face with 3 gigantic bowls of chocolate pudding. Was there chocolate pudding in the first Goldilocks story you heard 2 weeks ago? Was it something else? What was in those bowls? The first bowl of chocolate pudding was too hot, but Goldilocks ate it all anyway because, hey, it's chocolate pudding, right? The second bowl of chocolate pudding was too cold, but who cares about temperature when you've got a big bowl of chocolate pudding? Not her. The third bowl of chocolate pudding was just right. But Goldilocks was on such a roll by now, she hardly noticed. Soon, Goldilocks was stuffed like one of those delicious chocolate-filled little girl bonbons, which, by the way, are totally not the favorite things in the whole world for hungry dinosaurs. Tired and groggy, Goldilocks noticed 3 chairs in the living room, so she climbed down the ladder and walked out of the kitchen. Can you find pigeon on one of these 2 pages? The first chair was too tall. The second chair was too tall. And the third chair was too tall. Goldilocks wasn't going to climb that high just to sit in some chair, so she hiked over to the bedroom. When she got there, Goldilocks noticed that the bigs were also gigantically big. "What's going on around here?" groaned the exhausted girl. The bears that live here must be nuts. Do bears live there? Just then, the room filled with a loud booming noise that was either a passing truck or a dinosaur gloating. A few more minutes and she'll be asleep. Delicious, chocolate-filled little girl bonbons are yummier when they're rested. Even a little girl who never listens to anyone or anything had to hear that. Home, sweet dinosaur home. Goldilocks took a minute to stop and think, which was longer than she was used to stopping and thinking. Hey, she told herself, this isn't some bear's house. This is some dinosaur's house. Wipe your talons. Say what you like about Goldilocks, but she was no fool. As quickly as she could, she ran out the back door and got out of there. Just then, a loud plane flew by, which sounded pretty much like a trio of dinosaurs yelling, now, or charge, or the Norwegian expression for chewy bonbon time. Suddenly, and completely coincidentally, the three dinosaurs rushed through the front door, but they were too late. Goldilocks was gone, and all that was left in the house were three disappointed dinosaurs. The end. And the moral is, if you ever find yourself in the wrong story, leave. Did Goldilocks find her right story? Who are these three characters? Do you remember them? And the moral for the dinosaurs is, lock the back door. The end. This week for your activity, I would like for you to record your voice or write out the answers, all of the different things that you saw that were the same in both Goldilocks stories, and the things that were different. We're going to compare and contrast. Also, go ahead and tell me which one you liked best. I can include a handout for you to color as well. I look forward to hearing from you all of the different things you noticed that were the same and different. Until next time, Kelly Cougars.